And joining us in the studio now is Riggs Eckelberry. He's the CEO of Origin Clear Incorporated. OCLN is their stock symbol. Riggs, always great to see you.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Now, we had a little conversation before going on the air, what we were going to talk about. You have a full plate, so I'm going to give you the floor and tell us what's going on.
Thank you. Well, it's really interesting what's going on because we have this new concept of decentralized water wealth. Now, what does that mean? We know that infrastructure is falling apart. It's well documented. It's now going to take $1 trillion to fix our water infrastructure, and instead we ship it abroad to blow up countries. Fine. But what's happening then is that all the water, wastewater and water management is falling back on the users, right? And so increasingly corporations, factories, farmers, commercial buildings and so forth have to do their own self-reliant water treatment, right? Well, it's tough, but it's also interestingly a shift of assets.
Right.
From this central, the 50s thing, we're going to build a central thing and you will feed it all to us, to now it's being done at the margins like everything else.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but when things went from mainframes to PCs, the market for computers went 1,000 times bigger.
Right.
It became, because there had to be a machine everywhere.
Right.
So the minute you create one of those decentralized situations, you're increasing the asset value of the businesses and their operating efficiency. For example, they recycle better, they have better quality water and so forth. And they satisfy this new concept called ESG, environmental, social, and corporate governance. And this is a set of investing guidelines that's being adopted by more and more large funds, family offices, and so forth all over the world. Trillions are being invested in companies that are ESG portfolio companies. So let's say that you have a manufacturing company and you're doing fine, you're making good money and so forth. Now you do your own water treatment, you've reduced your carbon footprint, you're starting to recycle water, you're virtuous. Now you're an ESG portfolio company. So it actually increases your value. Now, if we are an ESG enabler, what does that make us?
An ESG company.
Ultimately. Now, I'm not saying that we meet the profile, because typically these are companies that are on, New York Stock Exchange and so forth, right? But as the ESG enabler, we're making it possible for companies to be, environmentally and socially conscious, and therefore we're on the virtue side of the equation. So that's a whole new concept for evaluation.
Well, they're going to wonder where the source is, and the source is going to point back to you.
I hate to say it, but the more we improve people's assets, and it's that real estate concept, right? Where your real business is real estate.
Right.
Well, that's what this is about. It's about improving that asset value. And when, as I was saying last week, that automotive group in Pennsylvania, I was saying this on my CEO briefing that people should catch every other week. I was talking about how this automotive group in Pennsylvania, they were completely cut off from the sewage. And so they built a system with our help to completely recycle all of their black water, reuse it and so forth. Now they created a lot of value in that property, in that business. And that's what we're in the business of.
And hence what we talked about last week, you're marketing water treatment to the end user as opposed to from the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, so in other words, they are micro-utilities,
Right.
micro-municipalities in a way, right? They've become, we've taken out the central thing and boom, blown it out to the edge. Well, now that creates thousands of opportunities where there was one. And guess what? That one central thing, everybody's jumping all over. All the big water companies, it's billions of dollars and so forth. Let them have it. It's a dying business. Go to the edge where the new action is, and that's us.
Do you run into any government interference with respect to that? Because, of course, they're looking for ways to get that $1 trillion that they want, and here you are on the other end of the spectrum solving the problem.
Municipalities are encouraging it.
Oh, nice.
Because their pipe capacity is failing. When you send dirty water to a municipality, it's sent on a high pressure line.
Right.
Those are blowing up. You see it in the news, Maine blowing up. Okay, now that that's blowing up, the municipality can only receive the water on a gravity line. It has to be treated. So they're saying, you, factory or whatever, you treat the water before you send it to us. Well, now, that guy's got to treat it. Well, you might as well recycle it, keep reusing it, get a few more turns out of it, right? Dramatically reduces their water bill. And he's still feeding the treated water to the city. Everybody's happy.
Well, I've got a new nickname for you now, the executive producer of ESG. No,
All right.
Company's origin clear, OCLN's our stock symbol, Riggs, always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.